Brad, starting off RJ Hunter, we know what type of a player in person he is, but signing him to a two-way contract and just kind of having everything come full circle for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's a neat story. I think one of the toughest things that I've been a part of over the last 6 years was when we had those 16 guaranteed contracts in the fall and we had to make a decision on one, and we ultimately had to waive RJ because we thought he was a high upside player that had really gotten better, that was going to work hard to be better, and so I think we're all really excited that we're able to have him back, and he'll be up in Maine as he gets retransitioned to us, but I'm sure he'll spend whatever time we can with us as well. So we're excited to have him.
How has he changed or evolved since what you said?
Well, I think the biggest thing, and you can just kind of look at the stats, right, from the G League the last couple of years, but he always was a guy that really knew how to play. I thought he got better defensively in our time, and then he's really been knocking down shots. And so he's never going to be, the strongest guy in the world, but he is stronger than probably people give him credit for. And he can use that length and his mind to really affect the game on the defensive end. And then on the offensive end, if he's making shots, he's a really hard guy to guard because he's, I think, probably his best attribute offensively is passing off actions. And so the shot making really opens that up, and he's been making them for the last 2 years.
Coach, it seemed like both here and at all the places that he moved on to, it seemed like people didn't know exactly what his position was or what he was best at. Where do you see that he's gone in that area and kind of picked up what he really does best?
He's a playmaker. He can make plays off of screens off the ball and on it. And he's a guy that had to get better. It's a hard league to play in. It's a hard league to be in. I thought, again, the stories that I'm most fond of are the stories where guys have to take a step back and really work their way to get into it, and kudos to him for doing that.
Brad, they haven't used it a lot so much the last few games, but their game has worked for them at times.
Yeah, it's been good.
Is that something that, just another thing to think about? Is that the concern with it, or what is?
We've seen more zone in the last month than we have in 5 years, and in the last week probably. Brooklyn played it quite a bit. Dallas a couple of possessions before that. Obviously, Miami's played it. Miami played it against us at our place last year, and kind of helped change the course of that game. But no, it's good, and it makes sense. I think one of the things when you're playing big in the league right now, it's hard to cover everything. And when they put that lineup out there with Kelly and Adebayo and Derek Jones and that second unit group, sometimes Wade's in there, they're super long in that zone and big. So that's a tough thing to attack. Just gotta do what you do best, spread the floor, make plays, and be in attack mode. I think one of the things that we all do sometimes when you face defenses you don't see all the time is settle. You gotta really work to attack the rim.
Specifically on that, Kyrie against zone seems to be ultra aggressive. Like one time he got to the paint, next time pulled up. There was no hesitation in him. Is that you? Hey, they're in a zone where we want to be aggressive, or is that him just making plays?
I think that's obviously when we're in the zone, and you don't spend a ton of time on it in preseasons. You don't spend a ton of time on it against games, but ultimately here are a few small actions we want to use. But generally, here's what the spacing we want. Here's what we want to do to attack the teeth of that zone, and then make the right read out of it, just like anything else. And so Kyrie's excellent at that.
But you're talking about settling. You guys made a lot of shots recently. Is there a fear that because you've been making shots that on a night like this where you might be a little tired, you're going to rely on the shot making rather than doing the things that it takes to get those shots?
I don't really think of it as a fear. Probably more things to be scared about than that. But I think, ultimately, we've got to attack. We've got to attack, and we've got to play together, and we've got to seek out great shots. Whether they're in man zone, 2-2-1, full court extended man, whatever they're in, we've got to seek out great shots. And we've been better at that recently. But yeah, there's always you never want to revert back into holding the ball. And so we want to make sure that ball's popping, and we're always on alert for great shots.
Marcus just said the other day that you have been emphasizing .5 basketball. Is that sort of is that time-wise .5, like moving the ball half a second, or is that 5?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of coaches in the league that talk about that, and just, you know, you're trying to make quick decisions with the ball. You're either driving, passing, or shooting in .5 seconds. The bottom line is just the idea of get it and move it. And sometimes the shot's the best thing you can do. Sometimes quick drive. Very rarely is the hold and drive the best thing you can do, especially as you know, these defenses get even quicker and better and more versatile. I think Coach Spo's been at the forefront of that, you know, for a long time, and it's one of the reasons why I think they've had such great success. Is even when they had those guys here, and LeBron and Wade and Bosh, and they really moved the ball and they really flung it around the court. Thanks.